Hi, I'm Imogen Hermes Gowar and I'm the author of The Mermaid of Mrs Hancock. The Mermaid of Mrs Hancock is set in London in 1785, where a merchant, Jonah Hancock, is waiting in Deptford for his ship to return. Unfortunately, it never does, but what he gets instead is this tiny, wizened, mummified mermaid, which looks a lot like a monkey stitched to a fish's tail. Across town in Soho, the highly desirable courtesan Angelica Neal finds herself down on her luck and in need of a new keeper to pay her bills. Jonah and Angelica are sucked into the orbit of this mermaid and set out together to climb the Georgian social ladder. I got the idea for The Mermaid and Mrs Hancock when I was working at the British Museum, and there I just started writing again as an adult, and I used to try and challenge myself to write short pieces of fiction inspired by the artefacts that I worked around. So if I was in a gallery, I would choose something and I would try and imagine the context that it might have originally been in and the people who could have been around it and make a story from it. One of those objects was a real mermaid, which is in the British Museum collection. It's usually tucked away in quite a dark corner and not many people know about it. So it was always quite fun sending children to see it because it's really scary. And it's very similar to the one in the book, so it's kind of baby-sized with these sharp little monkey teeth in its fists kind of pulled up. And when I looked at it, I thought, a collector in the 18th century who wanted a mermaid for his Wunderkammer would expect to receive something like this, and what would happen if instead he got a real, nebulous, powerful mermaid come back instead. And that was where the idea first came from, and I immediately had the characters of Mr Hancock and Angelica Neal in my head, like they were kind of fully formed, and I could hear the voice of the novel very clearly from the beginning. It worked because I'd always been really interested in the 1780s and the women of that period, so it was really easy to bring my love of the period into this story and to create a world that felt to me really convincing and powerful. The British Museum mermaid does probably date from the 18th century. During this period in Japan, they were making these representations of Ningyo, which are kind of water spirits, which the Dutch would then mistake for real mermaids, whereas in fact they were usually made from monkeys stitched onto a fish's tail. These curiosities would then be transported back to Europe and exhibited in great cities with huge excitement.